We hope you enjoy this audio-only podcast. You can watch the full video versions on our YouTube channel at All Things Unexplained. There we share visuals, documents, and extended discussions you won't hear anywhere else. While you're there, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a new video. But for now, enjoy this audio version of All Things Unexplained.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's.
Did the CIA write Wind of Change by the Scorpions?
As humans busied themselves about the various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied.
Dr. Loeb, what percentage chance do you give it that you have indeed uncovered extraterrestrial or non-human technology?
With infinite complacence, people went about their affairs, yet across an immense ethereal gulf, intellects vast and unsympathetic threw their plans against us.
All of a sudden, a stick out of nowhere landed right in front of us, and there was no tree, nothing overhead. Something threw it at us.
Yeah. What's your hot take on Travis Taylor?
I've got an exclusive for you guys if you want it about the Alaska.
We do.
Okay.
Dr. Taylor was revealed to be the chief scientist of the UAP task force with the Pentagon.
All things unexplained.
So some of that, I think, sir, we'll save for closed session.
All right, Unexplained Ones, it's Dr. Mouse, and welcome back to All Things Unexplained. You might have noticed our full-length classic intro there from Larry. So I hope you enjoyed that. Part of the reason I played that was because of something a new subscriber said, and that was Ricky Klecko 8391. They said, OMG, I have found my new favorite YouTube channel, and I am not leaving. LOL. Heart emoji. So welcome to All Things Unexplained, Ricky Klecko 8391. We are glad to have you, and we hope you'll stick around for quite a while. This episode, we're going to actually begin something I've been thinking about doing for a while. So this is going to be the first video in a new playlist that I'll have on the YouTube channel. And I'm going to use this playlist to chronicle and document attacks on our infrastructure. This is something I've been tracking for quite a while now, for years, actually. Some of these attacks are here in North Carolina, just right down the road from the All Things Unexplained studio. And with the podcast, I actually have a lot of projects like this going on, what I call extended time frame projects, things that I've been researching for years, and it just hadn't quite made its way into the videos. But these attacks on the infrastructure, I talk about this sometimes on X. If you don't follow us on X, then you can check us out at AT Unexplained on X. And these attacks on our infrastructure, friend of the show, Lee Starks, he keeps up with these too, and it's really quite frightening, the sheer number of them, but they're very hard to keep up with. Like, they don't get a lot of headlines. It's hard to find them in the news. The mainstream news is really slow to pick up on them. And speaking of my friend Lee Starks, he just sent off 2 signed copies of Orbit to 2 lucky listeners of All Things Unexplained. And like I said, in our community on YouTube, if you haven't checked that out, be sure to do so. We don't ask what you can do for us. We ask, what can we do for you? And so it's our pleasure to get these copies of Orbit on the way to a couple of listeners, subscribers, and people that comment on the videos here at All Things Unexplained. And there's Lee showing off his handiwork with the signatures. Now, like I said, this video will be the first in a new playlist here on the channel about attacks on our infrastructure. And in this video, we're going to examine some very recent attacks on water systems and talk about who exactly might be responsible for this. But first, if you could hit the subscribe button, and don't be intimidated by that word subscribe, because we are absolutely free. It's one of the best ways you can support the channel. We do weekly content on aliens, Bigfoot, UFOs, astrophysics, and everything in between. So if that sort of thing is for you, hit the subscribe button. And if you also comment on the videos, that will enter you into a chance at our giveaways. So first, subscribe to All Things Unexplained, then leave a comment. That's it. You'll be entered into our giveaways. We'll get into that more at the end of the video, and thanks for being a part of the Unexplained ones. So this headline comes from WRAL News in Raleigh, North Carolina, just down the road from the All Things Unexplained studios. This is updated as of 7:45 p.m. yesterday. That's July 31st, 2026. The headline reads, Raleigh Water prepared after national cyber attacks on water utility facilities. The news is that multiple states are dealing with a cyber attack on their water systems, and the FBI is investigating a potential link to Iran. After cyber attacks hit water facilities in 7 states, Raleigh Water says it's prepared. We're in a good spot. We don't want to ever talk in absolutes in this business, but I think we've done our due diligence to protect ourselves from this type of cyber attack, says Ed Buchan, Raleigh Water Assistant Director. Apparently, more than 30 municipal water facilities in Minnesota were hit by the attack. A law enforcement official who spoke to NBC says the attack in Minnesota has the hallmarks of Iranian meddling. A warning from a Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources spokesperson said Minnesota experienced system pressures drop, which triggered alarms and prompted a response from law enforcement. A Minnesota spokesperson denied that happened. The Federal Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency said some larger attacks on water infrastructure resulted in boil water notices and sustained manual operations, but did not say what locations. CISA Acting Director Nick Anderson provided a statement on the matter. CISA is currently observing a significant increase in cyber threat actors targeting programmable logic controllers at water utilities. We urge critical infrastructure owners and operators to remove publicly exposed PLCs and other operational technology from the internet as soon as possible. We also encourage all organizations to review the latest guidelines on CISA.gov and to report suspected incidents or anomalous activity to us for further support. That's a very interesting use of the word anomalous there. Back to Buchan, they said PLCs are used throughout plants today to operate valves, chemical feeds, all sorts of things in a plant. Essentially, if you absolutely had to, you could operate a plant from your house, but of course we don't do that. Ours are not vulnerable in the same way that some of these other ones were. Okay, so again, part of the reason I'm starting to chronicle these infrastructure attacks is because they just don't get a lot of mainstream news attention. They might appear for a day and then they're kind of gone, swept under the rug. And here at All Things Unexplained, I have FOIA'd over the years a lot of these attacks. And basically, I have gotten a grand total of nothing in return. I have FOIA'd for more information on water system attacks, internet attacks, power grid attacks, nuclear base attacks. Nothing. I've only gotten one thing back, and that was from a power plant. I should make a video about this. And they had a drone in the airspace of the power plant, and it crashed in the tree, I think. The security at the power plant got it down. They told what kind of drone it was. Essentially, it was a conventional hobbyist drone, and someone had flew it over the airspace of the nuclear power plant. They probably got a visit from the FBI shortly after that at their front door. But otherwise, we just can't find out anything about these infrastructure attacks. And I fully believe that they are inextricably connected to our airspace incursions. There are frightening things happening in our airspace right now. We have all but admitted that we are not in control over our airspace, over our own airspace at our sensitive military sites. Thus, the formation of Avi Loeb's UAP Advisory Council, bringing in outside experts in various fields to try to figure out exactly what is going on. Now, I have made the argument myself, admittedly, that these experts are not necessarily experts in adversary drone technology. They're experts in fields like astrophysics. So it is kind of confusing as to what exactly is going on in our airspaces, especially when they use terms like orbs. I fully believe that some of these incidents, they're connected to subterranean areas, that these things in our airspace could be coming from subterranean areas. I've shown beyond a shadow of a doubt that one of the security upgrades our infrastructure has been undertaking in the last several years is against drones. We know that a man in Tennessee, this is from a Homeland Security report, that he was planning on using drones to take out a vast swath of our power grid. And he had studied previous attacks on the power grid, especially with firearms. And some of those attacks happened right down the road from here. Still, there's been nothing said about those. The local law enforcement tried to blame those on all kinds of wacky things, none of which made any sense. I'll talk about those at another time. I believe I have made a few videos about those. But folks, I've been saying for quite a while, you need to be prepared. You need to keep your heads on the swivel and be ready for the worst case scenario. God forbid that it ever happen. Hopefully you never need your supplies, but you need a old snap backpack or something in your garage sitting on go, and a way to access safe drinking water, among other things. And these cyber attacks here on these water systems within the past week, at least we found out about them in the past week, they immediately brought to mind another story that should have been worldwide news, in my opinion, but it was just kind of briefly put out there and boom, swept under the rug. And guess what? We haven't heard any other updates about it. Nothing. I've put in requests for more information. Nothing. Not even a response that, hey, yeah, we got your request for information. Not even the courtesy of that. That's how tight-lipped officials are on these attacks on our infrastructure, and that should be a warning to us. But headline, May 13th, 2026. So earlier this summer, this comes from Fox 10 News. Explosive device found detonated at Mobile Water Reservoir. That's in Alabama. A multi-agency team safely removed grenade-type IED discovered by divers at the Converse Reservoir Dam.
Yeah, that explosion was controlled and intentional. A grenade-type explosive device was found underwater at Big Creek Lake, the primary drinking water supply for the Mobile area. The Mobile Area Water and Sewer System, MAW, is saying divers found this improvised explosive device while surveying the lake's dam for routine repairs. A multi-agency bomb squad team, including the FBI, Mobile County Sheriff's Office, and state law enforcement, retrieved and safely destroyed it, as you just saw. MAW says the drinking water supply was not affected. Big Creek Lake is federally designated critical infrastructure, and Homeland Security has been notified. We're trying to find out where the IED came from, if it's been there for some time, or if investigators think it was placed there. We'll let you know what we find.
So that was in Mobile, Alabama earlier this summer. The dam at the reservoir for their primary drinking source. Divers on a routine dive discovered an IED explosive connected to the dam underwater. Now think about that. We don't know, when did it get there? Who put it there? Where did they come from? You would think that it would draw some attention if you just drove up to the dam, put on all this gear, scuba underwater with an explosive device, and connected it to the dam and then cleared out of there with all the stuff. Matter of fact, you got to be pretty gutsy to pull that off anyway. I mean, just think how confident you'd have to be that this explosive is not going to blow me up on the way to the dam. Maybe it wasn't even people that delivered the explosive. Maybe it was some sort of underwater submersible that delivered the IED explosive device. We don't know any of this information. Could they have parked somewhere down water from the dam and put in there and then dove in and then swam all the way to the dam, sort of like a James Bond type of thing? I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Why? Because we haven't found out anything else about that case. That happened in early May or mid-May, so almost 3 months ago now. Someone had placed an IED explosive underwater at a major dam in a U.S. city, and I bet you never even heard about it. All right, so Minnesota is saying that Iran could be responsible for these cyber attacks on their water systems. Do you remember what Jeff Van Drew said on Fox News?
Objects in the sky that are the size of an SUV over any city, over any state, it's an invasion of our airspace. In focus now, Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, member of the House Judiciary Committee on the Hill right now. How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. You know, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, you know, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine, or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Look, you've given us some pretty dire information just here, and I want to make sure that our viewers are digesting this.
That was shocking, and I still want to know who told him that. Who were these sources that told Jeff Andrew that Iranian motherships were sending drones into the airspace of the continental United States? We still don't know. Unexplained ones, there are attacks happening on our critical infrastructure. Water, power, internet, nuclear, the electric grid. There's threats to churches and other gathering places of U.S. citizens. There's unknown things in our airspace, invading our sensitive sites, military bases, nuclear plants. And there are a lot of distractions out there, and very little reporting is done on these incidents. And that's why there's going to be a playlist on All Things Unexplained now, where we can compile these incidents and have a record of them. Because one of you may notice patterns beginning to emerge. And I truly believe an informed public is one of the greatest ways to combat government secrecy. All right, Unexplained ones, let's get into this giveaway stuff before I let you go. We've got a lot of great stuff to give away, like signed books by best-selling author Patricia Cornwell, Disney author David Koning, Bev Vincent, who writes in the Stephen King multiverse, friend of the show Lee Starks, Colonel Drew Miller, and much more. Just be a sub, it's free, leave a comment, and that's all it takes to be entered into the giveaways. And I really appreciate you being a part of the Unexplained ones. So here at the end of the video, you're going to see a link up here somewhere, I think, where you can subscribe to the infrastructure playlist. That way you'll never miss a new video. But for now, let's try to enjoy our weekend. Head outside, get some fresh air, head out into the woods maybe, look up at the sky. You may not spot a Bigfoot, you may not find a UFO, but you might just find yourself out there. Take care, everybody. This is Dr. Mounts, and thanks for tuning in to All Things Unexplained.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's.
Did the CIA write Wind of Change by the Scorpions?
As humans busied themselves about the various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied.
Dr. Loeb, what percentage chance do you give it that you have indeed uncovered extraterrestrial or non-human technology?
With infinite complacence, people went about their affairs, yet across an immense ethereal gulf, intellects vast and unsympathetic threw their plans against us.
All of a sudden, a stick out of nowhere landed right in front of us, and there was no tree, nothing overhead. Something threw it at us.
Yeah. What's your hot take on Travis Taylor?
I've got an exclusive for you guys if you want it about the
yes,
Alaska.
we do.
Okay.
Dr. Taylor was revealed to be the chief scientist of the UAP task force with the Pentagon.
All things unexplained.
So some of that, I think, sir, we'll save for closed session.